Yes, my people, so I'm gonna help my people grow. Oh, whoa. Manny Lopez, Mr. Orphan, the CEO. Let's go.
This superstar right here is somebody who knows how to reconnect the lost art of writing love letters. How many of you have received a love letter? When's the last time you received a love letter, a handwritten love letter? When's the last time? Probably a long time. You know, a funny story, I have been with my wife since 2005. We're high school sweethearts. Shortly after meeting her, within 2 months, I left to the Navy. And the only thing I could do is write her, literally, pen to paper, writing her a letter and sending it out to her, waiting a week or 2 weeks for a response because of snail mail, right? Remember those days, writing letters? No, I don't think you remember. And how she fell in love with me, how we have this incredible life that we've been able to create for our family, our 3 beautiful children. We're going on 16 years together, is because of love letters. I wrote her love letters while I was in the Navy. I wrote her poems. I wrote her different things that told her how I was feeling, and that got her to connect with me in a way that no other woman, person has ever been able to connect with me before. So I'm going to introduce you to someone who does this as a profession. So let's bring her to the stage, the one, the only, Kristine Grant. Come on down, our love letter specialist of Network of Influence. Let's do this. Dun, 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 dun. All right, come on, Kristine. Just activate it. Let's go. It's gonna come shortly. She's coming. I'm telling you guys. She's just making her way down the stage. There it is.
Well, you know, I'm the most techie person. That's why I think love letters they're easy, they're fun, and you know, life's not a dress rehearsal, right? So, as humans, we have our brain and we have our physicality, but it's the heart that really gets us where we want to go.
Exactly. I love it.
And
so welcome to the show, Kristine. I'm excited to have you here on Network of Influence. For those that don't know who you are, give them a quick rundown of what we call the art of business. That means the audience that you work with, the result that you can get for that audience, and how long does it take for them to start seeing results?
well, that's the good news. I'm sort of like the fairy godmother that comes in and helps to find the words you really want to say. If we are struggling with our emotions, we have had a falling out with somebody, I help people that haven't spoken in weeks, months, years, decades, for example. I have people that struggle with co-parenting after there's a separation or divorce. I help people to rekindle the romance in any type of partnership. Friendship fallouts, blended family issues, grief and loss. And you know, this time on the planet, I think people are starting to really tune in. We look at the silver lining to everything. And for a lot of us, this time away from what we knew as reality has given us pause to really check in on our dynamics and connections with others. And it's sad to say that, you know, some people have had such a difficult time spending more time with their loved ones or family members or friends. And there's been a lot of emotional rifts and also coming together. So people call upon me to help them, like I said, to really move past their defenses, their emotions. If I'm upset with somebody, guess what? I'm in my own way. I've got my story behind it. Some people like to be right rather than loved, as they say. And what I'm able to do is tap into somebody's higher heart. I'm very intuitive. My background, I was a psychotherapist for years, also an educational psychologist. I leap over that, tap into that higher heart, and voila, create messages that are truly amazing. We don't always see the forest for the trees when it comes to our emotional field. And we really, you know, someone asked me, gosh, you know, if you were to give a message, if you were on your deathbed, what would it be? And that's something for everyone here in the audience to contemplate. I mean, that one is like, wow. And one thing I would say is to follow your heart, and don't let the ego get in the way of that heart and miss out on that joy. We are sparks of God. We are spiritual folks here, right? And so letting that light within you shine no matter what, and also to understand that are rocks in the road, those lessons that come with relationships. If we didn't have that, we didn't have the connections, and we didn't have the challenges, we, I believe, would miss out on the opportunity to evolve to our best and highest self. So it's a gift wrapped in sandpaper, as they say. Yeah.
So looking at what you're doing, you're taking the concept of a broken relationship, maybe needing some mending, a family, a friend, something to where you're like, we're not on speaking terms. What do you do? Like, do you have a conversation with one side and say, hey, I want to get that side's voice out in a specific way? I mean, give me the rundown of how that process works.
Yeah, I've been doing this for about 17 years. I've literally written over 400 letters. As it started out as a pastime and a hobby. So how the process works is someone will call upon me, and I have different programs. So if somebody, for example, wants to write their letter and have me give input, I can do that. If somebody just wants to have a consult and kind of dial into what the dynamics are and could be in a relationship issue, I can help with that. But the thing that I'm sort of known for is taking over the helm, if you will, by this intuitive process. So I have the background with human development and psychology, but I also have my whole life been pretty intuitive, and I can actually pick up on what the real issue is, the underlying theme. And I have this uncanny knack for understanding how the other person whom I've never met is going to receive the letter. You have to have the right words. You can say, well, this is the message, but if words are like a frequency, and how we express ourselves and how that is received is so important. So that's my specialty, is the word activation. So I do have that program, and it's brought so much joy. Often the person that asks me to write their letter, they get the big aha when the letter is written. And I never, mind you, never tell someone what their goal ought to be. We will do a deeper dive into that, but I don't interfere with your evolvement, with what you need to do with your journey. It's just, I have a way of creating and bringing back the love letter. Nobody's going to throw away a love letter. No,
right?
I call them inspired heart letters, but no, they don't. I mean, I found one from my daughter that she had written when she was 8 years old. She's 25. And I was
my wife still has all the love letters that I sent her 16 years ago. So
I know
it's in a little box. She keeps them all nice and safe. And, it's an amazing structure of how to reconnect in a different way, right? We're always thinking, just hit them up on Facebook or tag them on this, or, post a story about it, when really, getting into that direct access, direct connection. What is a tip that you could share with somebody that maybe is having, everyone right here, there's got to be at least one person in every single person's life right now that is watching this, that has at least one person there saying, what, I need to mend that in some way. What is a tip you would share on how to do that?
Thanks, Manny. I'm going to illustrate it by a short story. I had a man approach me. He had married his college sweetheart. She was the valedictorian. They got married really young. And however, they didn't take the time out, they were young, to really look at what their values were as far as what we wanted to create in our marriage. She wanted to have a family right away. He wanted to go and explore the world with her and have all this romance, and then get into, settling into a family. So they started having kids right away. She was very dedicated. She was a teacher. He was starting his own business, and he had this adventurous spirit. And he felt after 10 years that he was literally living a couch potato life, loved his children, and he had evolved out of the relationship to where and this is his story, mind you, but everyone has their perspective. So his perspective was this. So they ended up divorcing, and she was so upset, she did not speak to him for the following 10 years, nothing. And she would hijack, like he would try to send gifts and emails and whatever to the children, phone calls, and she would tend to hijack that. And she would malign the dad to the kids. We've heard that one before, right? And so she was trying to push the kids out of his sphere of love. And one, he actually, they lived about 500 miles apart. So one of the daughters went to visit the father. She was 16, 17, and she already had her agenda about dad for the summer. And so she was getting up in the middle of the night while he was asleep and stealing his car and going out and partying with friends and this and that. And so he and the daughter were having issues, and the daughter left. She graduates from high school. She does not invite dad to her graduation. He was so hurt, but he loved his kids dearly, and he knew she was graduating. So he flew up there on his own, attended the ceremony, and was really, just dissed by everyone there. And the daughter was very polite. Hi, Dad, thank you for coming. But he wasn't feeling that connection. He asked me to write a letter from him to his daughter. I said, no way. We're going back to the original wound. We are going to write the letter to your wife. And her name was Jill. And he's like, no. She hates me. We haven't spoken in 10 years. And I said, we have to heal the wound. We go to the source. So he's at the mailbox. He calls me up. He says, I'm shaking. And I said, why? And he said, I'm nervous about sending this letter. And I said, well, what worse? How much worse can it get? What do you have to lose? Say a prayer, kiss it and throw it in the mailbox. And he did. He calls me a week later. Gee, I haven't heard anything. I said, let it simmer. Because that's the thing, everyone. Our emotional things, the letters are wonderful because you can contemplate. It's not a verbal dialogue where everybody's like, yeah, but. You can read it and reread it and absorb it. So a week later, he calls me and he says, oh my God. He said, I just flew up to see Jill, and we sat for almost 3 hours talking about our family and the kids, and we're on the same page. And he was so thrilled. He contacted me about a month or so later and said, Jill created a golf trip for me and my sons. And she did. It was her idea. So this is how things can really shift.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So that's really just taking it to where you don't just look at the superficial wounds, right? You look at, don't put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, go to the source and focus on really honing in on where that problem is. So
right.
Now, when we bring in our speakers and we have them highlighted, one of the things that we like to do is give our viewers some really awesome access. So what I've done is I've set up a text-in keyword for Kristine. So if you guys want to connect with her, learn more about what she's doing, and just get access to some really awesome resources that she gives away for free, a lot of digital stuff that she's like, hey, this is some tips on how to do this. Here's how you connect with people like this. Here's how I would open that conversation. And get access to this. We've set up a little keyword. All you got to do is text in the word love, L-O-V-E, to the number you've been texting in all morning, 714-369-8528. Now, Kristine, just like what we've done with many times that we brought you in before, we have a Speaker's Paradise segment. So some of you may have already know what this is. For those that are new, I ask our featured specialist that we give away one special experience to one lucky live viewer. So you guys watching right now are the only ones that get to participate in this. And I'm literally just going to pick one person that texts in the word love right now. So Kristine, what can we put in Speaker's Paradise for that one lucky winner?
Okay, well, this is the fun part. So I have a few gifts this go around. Yeah.
Ooh, nice. Let's do it.
I just completed a bucket list. Remember, I said if you're on your deathbed, you want to say, hey, I lived my life richly, fully, and from the heart. I created an album called Love Letters. Gee, I wonder why. And And my performer's name is a derivative of my name. I'm a Kristine Rose, so it's Tina Rose. And all my friends from Mexico called me Tina for years, so I thought that sounded kind of cute for an album. So Tina Rose is my performer's name. So I have 10 songs I wrote and sing with the Brothers Corin, who are gold medal award-winning musicians who toured with Pink and Coldplay and Bon Jovi and Rod Stewart. So it's a good one. So you'll get the album. Also, I have my book, which is my big book, which is Relationship: How to Write the Words You Really Want to Say, which has a chapter for all the typical dynamics I work with in the realm of love and relationship. Also, there's other fun things in there, like how to do your dating profile or texting or teasing, the allure of successful text messaging for dating, and also things like wedding vows and eulogies. I also, bear in mind, the writing service bodes very well in the realm of business. That is another relationship, and think about how much time we spend with clients and people we collaborate with or joint venture, people that we answer to. So I've had tremendous luck with that as well. So by the way, the results are almost instantaneous with this letter writing.
I know, think about it. If I received a love letter from my queen, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so special.
Yeah. I had one man who was very wealthy, and he said, my wife can go buy anything, but she can't go out and buy a love letter. Yeah. So the other thing that for this package, whoever wins it, that lucky individual will also have their choice of any of my packages, including the platinum one, which is the done for you, with you, inspired heart letter.
Ooh, all right.
Another gift this gift I want to give to anyone in the audience, because we didn't put it on the original menu. Mm-hmm. They want to get in touch with me. My daughter and I created the A to Z Power Cards. I have a children's program for self-empowerment, conflict resolution, and anti-bullying that I spoke around the United States on for 2 years. Right. And we've repurposed it, really. It's called Be Friendship Focused. And I have this deck of cards. They're the A to Z Power Cards. So it has a painting, an inspirational thought, and a word that will trigger a conversation for deeper thought and character building for children. Because I know there's a lot of people in the educational realms, people that work with children of adoption, etc. Okay.
Yes. Awesome. Wow. It's just throwing the whole farm here today. That's what I'm talking about.
Deserve it.
See what happens when you guys show up on time. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that. All right. So all you had to do was text in the keyword love to 714-369-8528. I'm going to pick a winner right now. But right before I do, I want to ask you one last question, Kristine. What is something you would say to one of our From Orphan to CEO students? Those that have had to go through a lot of chaos. Some of these, just looking at my story, abuse, neglect, malnutrition, torture. These kids don't really feel loved. I've had that question of, why did I have to do that? Why did I have to go through this? Why me? Blah, 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 blah. Why don't I have a mom? Blah, blah, blah. But I've been able to kind of look at how my life has become a blueprint to others, that they could see it's still possible without that expectation. But for a lot of these kids, they don't see that yet. What would you say to someone like that feeling lost?
Okay. I thought you'd never ask. So, all right. So I've worked with kids. Up until last summer, I was working with severely emotionally disturbed teenagers and young adults. And there was one teenager that I spoke with who was very upset with the sign of the times and being in lockdown and his parents having issues. And finally I said, okay, enough about you. What have you done for someone else lately? Huh? And I said, this is your homework assignment. Either you can do something as simple and as precious as giving a genuine compliment to one of your parents or a family member. And it can't be something, I like your sweater, no, it's something real. or, you know, doing a random act of kindness. So I called him the following week and he said, oh my God, you're going to love this. I said, what? I want to love something. What is it? And he said, well, there's this little boy in my neighborhood. Now, this student lived in a lower socioeconomic neighborhood with a lot of gangsters and such. And so he said there was a young boy about 7 years old that lived a neighbor. And he said his parents were fighting so much that the police came and hauled the dad off in handcuffs. And he said, this kid is undergoing major depression. I'm like, wow, that's pretty clinical. Okay. And so why are you sharing this with me? He said, well, I knew he wanted to be a baseball player when he grew up. So I went out and I went to a toy store and got him a kid's baseball mitt, the bat. My mom had a fancy balloon. We wrapped it all up. I went over to his house. I put it on the doorstep. I rang the doorbell and I ran away. He didn't even want to stick around for the thank you. And I said, oh, well, how are you feeling? He said, I haven't felt this good in a long time. We are beings of light if we let our own light shine. If we come from the heart, we can be victims our whole life. And I understand it's tough growing up without your nuclear family and all of that, and being in the system and such. I get it. But don't have this idea that every other family is perfect either. There's always these, just like I was mentioning earlier, our relationship struggles can serve to be our teachers. We need leaders. The generation today, yeah, you guys, I'm jealous because you're so good in technology and you can, you're innovative and all of that. But what is happening with our connections, especially with the complexion of the earth right now, with everything going on socially? And it is that heart, which is that heart space in you that is the most precious, the most dynamic. We need leaders. So I had terrible things happen to me. When I was 4 years old, I was so tortured and my parents couldn't find me. And even though my dad was a police chief, my parents couldn't find me for hours and hours. They found me in someone's garage. I'd been so tortured by a teenage boy that I was paralyzed with fear, unconscious. For some reason, and I've had plenty of other things along the way that were very life-threatening. The grace that I live by through that is that for whatever reason, I was a kid, I never held anger and a grudge. Why? I don't know why. It was a blessing to me, because people that do that can't forgive, that can't move forward, that can't find enough space in their heart to say, I'm sorry that I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. This person, it's not about me. When we make it about me, and then we start putting on the armor. And there's all this talk about, oh, I'm a narcissist. This one's a narcissist. Where does narcissistic personality come from? It comes from a little child that wants love and is rebuffed or hurt. So they develop a personal protection, emotional protection. And then as they get older, it gets thicker and solid, and it's harder to get in. You can break it down. That is I hope the young people out there listening will really take that to heart. Be your own best friend. You're worth it. I wish you every success, but any type of success is not as rich, is not as joyful if our relationships aren't there.
Yes. Great message, Kristine. Yeah. So I love it. I wish we could just keep going all day, but we've got a lot to cover in this event. I have to cut you off. I'm sorry. All right. So, Kristine, let's pick this winner. Here's what we're going to win. So how this works, you simply just text in the keyword love, and you have a chance to win her book. You have a chance to win her album, and you can choose her done with you / done for you, where she's going to write your love letter to whomever you choose. So who wants to win this? Looks like a lot of people did. So let's see who wins. 3, 2, 1. Pass. Wow. Yes, it actually worked. All right. This person has not given me their name yet. Their name currently is Superstar in my group. So I need you to text me what your name is. The last four of your phone number is 5831. Congratulations, whoever this is. But until you do, you don't actually win just yet. So whoever that is, text me your first and last name so I can announce who won. But the last four is 5831. This is a 949 area code. Local. Pretty local to me. So whoever that is that you, Tammy? I don't know. Is that Angela? I don't know. Who says? I don't know who won. Somebody won. Last four, 5831. So we'll find out who that is, and we'll announce them shortly. Thank you for coming in, Kristine. It's been a pleasure having you, and super excited to have you meet our awesome people because we're about to go into some networking time.
Thanks,
Thank you, Kristine.